is it.
This is it.
Episode 1, Sisters Uncensored. We're here.
Woohoo!
I can't believe we're here. This is crazy.
I know, this is weird. We've come a long way from my kitchen.
We really have in just a few weeks.
Literally, just a few weeks.
So I'm Jess.
I'm Ashley.
We are Sisters Uncensored.
We're real sisters.
We are, and we're pretty horrible sometimes.
We're best friends forever. Definitely ride or dies. We are 2 of 4.
We are.
We have 4 kids in our family and 2 step siblings. We grew up like in a small, big town, very woodsy, very sticks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Drank a lot in the woods. Rode
Drank
quads.
a ton in the woods. It was really fun, actually. That's like what you did.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of running from the cops in the woods. That was always good too.
Yep.
But yeah, we grew up basically like your very normal, middle class, normal life.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had like a perfect childhood, I would say. It was like picture perfect. The mom, the dad, the 4 beautiful kids. Everybody was always like dressed,
impeccably.
Like we matched for every holiday when we'd go to church. The family was like, I guess what you would think is like a magazine, right? Like very...
Yeah, we went to church every Sunday. Our father was a deacon at the church, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
And dad worked. Mom stayed at home.
Yeah.
Took care of us. She was like the picture perfect housewife, I would say.
Yeah.
Like pretty. The house was impeccable.
Always.
Sat around the dinner table every night. Everything was perfect. It
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah, and then the shit hit the fan.
Yeah. Everything was great until it wasn't. And then it like all blew up. And
So I think that's like a big part of why we're here and what kind of made us decide to do this, right? It's
agreed.
like we had this picture perfect life, and then outside of our control, life happened.
And it was kind of like ripped out from under us.
Yeah, and
mean-
and it made us into the people we are today, I think, which is we're pretty fucking awesome.
I think we're pretty cool. Most of us.
But I think, these like traumatic situations that happen as a kid kind of shape who you become as an adult.
So essentially what happened was our parents divorced. They divorced due to infidelity. It wasn't a like gotcha, caught ya situation. It was
Ongoing.
One of our parents stepped out, and our father, and went to my mom or our mom and told her and was like, I know I'm doing something wrong. I want to not do this and fix it. And basically they never recovered from it.
Yeah, no. She like had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, she went nuts. Not nuts. That's terrible to say, but yeah, she did. She had a nervous breakdown.
She cracked. And then from that point forward, like
it just got ugly.
It was gone. Yeah, like the marriage was over. We lost our house. We lost our car. They were so like at each other's throats all the time that they were trying to tit for tat. Like I feel like she would like have him thrown in jail for the fun of it.
We had restraining orders.
Yeah, there was a mess.
Going to court. It was all that kind of
We had to go to court.
Yeah. I remember like even...
And have to pick who we lived with.
Yeah. And so at the time, I was 10. You were probably 13.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yep.
plus or minus. So they were like really formative years.
Yeah.
Where, you can go really left if you're not careful and certain things happen. But either way, we were basically in the middle of this ongoing battle that went on for 20 years.
Yeah.
It felt like 20 years.
It was 20 years.
I think we literally just put it to bed, like 8 years ago?
Yeah. Things are finally, like once we started having our own children is when we had to get to this point where we're like, if this shit doesn't stop, we're not going to be able to like have a normal family where our kids can have grandparents and like do stuff like they deserve, because this isn't their fault. And we knew how much it impacted us as like kids and teens and these critical years when you are growing up and you really like need your parents to be paying attention to you, and they're so busy fighting each other that nobody has a fucking idea what's happening and
Absolutely.
what you're doing. So I mean, that'll be the foundation for a lot of the stories that we tell. Is
That's true.
It was a freaking free-for-all because no one was giving a shit what we were doing. They were just fighting.
Absolutely. So out of the 4 kids, so it's Jessica is the oldest, then our sister Lindsay, then it's me, and then our brother Mark. He's like our baby brother.
Yep.
Mark lived with our mom after they split.
Yep.
And all the girls went to live with our dad. Our dad was very much the fun parent.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
And because we were like teenagers, or at least I was like 13, 14, he was like living his best bachelor life at that point in time.
He was full midlife crisis.
Yeah, totally. Driving a Porsche, bought a motorcycle. Yeah, like all the money that probably should have been going to making sure we kept our house and our cars.
Well, I mean, I think that's up for debate. If you talk to him,
that's true too.
It can go either way.
Yeah, that's true.
There's two sides to every story, and both of theirs don't match.
Yeah, so it's somewhere in the middle. That's true.
But either way, so our brother lived with our mom. Good kid. Our brother's the best. Like
super athlete,
beautiful, such a good-looking man, I should say.
Yes.
He's 2 years younger than me, and went to college. Just did what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean? He was a really good kid. Never really dated much in high school.
No, because I think all of the girls were afraid because he had 3 older sisters that we would cut their throats.
Yeah, that's true.
And we would have.
And I remember he dated a girl one time in high school. One girl I remember him dating. And I was friendly with her. And when I found out they were dating, I was like, what? And I was with our cousin Chris. And he's like, yeah, I heard they're like together. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you should like call her. I'm like, okay. So I called her up and I was like, hey, I heard you're dating my brother. She's like, yeah, I guess so. I was like, all right, that's great. I like you. But, you know, if you fuck with him, I'll break your fucking legs. And that's the end of it. And she's like, okay, got it. I was like, all right, bye. Oh, my God. Like, but that's just how it was with him.
Yeah.
But
then he went to college and became a man whore.
That's because he went to college with our cousin Mike, who was always a man whore. And like he took... Literally, the two of them went to college together, lived together.
They were on the same baseball team.
Yeah, they were polar opposites, like meaning Mark was very like shy. He's very type B. He's so good looking, but he's a little dumb, if you know what I mean. Like he's not the brightest.
He's book smart.
He's very book smart.
We'll give him that. Street smarts, worldly, not so much.
No idea what's going on outside of his bubble.
No.
If you ask him, I remember when they were impeaching Trump and he said, well, so if Trump gets impeached, who becomes the next president? And I was like,
you.
Read a fucking book, okay? Like turn on the news, just something, just do something, all right? But either way, he's got a heart of gold. He's a gentle giant. He's a wonderful guy. But he ended up going to college with our cousin Mikey, and Mikey destroyed him. He literally turned him into a little hoe bag himself.
Yeah, and then he ended up moving upstate by dad, met that girl.
His ex-wife.
Yeah, he ended up marrying. We told him not to.
He did it anyway.
He didn't listen to us. They had like a Kardashian wedding. So like what? I think they were married for like 90 days and then they got it annulled. It was ridiculous.
To preface, they had a child together beforehand.
Yeah, so one good thing came out of that whole relationship.
He's wonderful.
Yes, we love Ben.
Yeah, he's a good egg.
And then what else? We've got...
Talk about Lindsay.
Lindsay. Okay, so we've got Lindsay. Lindsay is the next youngest sister after me. So she's older than Ash, younger than me. She is pretty much the total opposite of the two of us. She is kind, quiet. She tends to be more of a loner, right? Like
complete loner.
Yeah, she's not like a social butterfly, not out like with doing everything with everybody. She never really was in high school even, like growing up. She was very to herself. She was da-da-da. Like I know Dad tells stories about like she'd sit in the corner and he just like, she'd entertain herself. He wouldn't even have to worry about what she was doing, where we were like hanging from the chandeliers growing up. And so that's pretty much how her personality has always been. She physically, it looks very different from Ash and I. She's short, she's heavy set.
We're very like into like makeup and hair and like all of that. She's does not care.
Doesn't care.
Very like
she's
very
content
basic.
in her like hoodie and sweatpants, which don't get me wrong, so am I sometimes.
Who isn't? But it's not my uniform.
Yeah, we call it the uniform. Yeah. She wears hoodie and a sweatpants to every event. If she could, she would. Sometimes we have to force her to like get dressed up.
Yeah.
And otherwise
it's just not her thing.
No, it's her jam.
Yeah.
She she works hard. She has a great career. She's a good mom. It took us a while to get there. So Lindsay has what we call in our family the health class horror story.
Oh, yeah.
Where you get pregnant the first time and only time that you've had sex. That's Lindsay. So
I feel like there's somebody else to blame for that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, so wait, just to put it out there, Lindsay never left the house really.
No.
She wasn't very social. And then I don't know if it was peer pressure or what, but she started going to hang out with our one cousin, who we're not going to name, but started going out with her. And the next thing we know, she was going out with her for like 2 months and bing, bang, boom, pregnant.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, totally true. Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like she was so like in that moment at the time because she wasn't that social person that like she had this crowd of kids. We were like freshmen and sophomores in college. So like we were going out and going to all these parties and meeting all these new people, and she was along for the ride, which was awesome because it was great time like in our lives where she was out of her shell and like being fun, right? Like
definitely.
And I think she was loving life, right? And then of course of all freaking people, this has to happen.
Yeah.
To Lindsay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, long story short, she did end up getting together with this guy. First time, last time, pregnant.
Do you remember how Dad told you she was pregnant?
Yeah.
I remember my story too. It's fantastic.
Okay, so when he told me, he sat me down. Wait a second.
Time out. First of all, she was sick. Like, remember, she was so freaking sick.
For like months.
For like months. No one knew what was wrong with her. We thought like she was like literally sick.
Like something was wrong.
Cancer, something.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell knows? Like, she was throwing up constantly.
She lost
a ton of weight.
Getting
they had
all
her
kinds of
going
testing
to all these
done.
doctors. Couldn't figure out what was wrong.
Well, every time they asked her, is there any chance that you're pregnant? She was like, no, definitely not.
Oh, yeah, noted. She took a morning after pill.
And wore 2 condoms.
Yes.
Lindsay's not the most honest person either. Just going to put that out there.
That's true too.
She has
there might be some fabrication of that story. I know she took the morning after pill, but I think there's like a 48-hour time period that you have to take it. And whoever was consulting her at the time, which was probably our stupid cousin,
Horabella Pizzeria,
must not have advised her of the appropriate instructions for the morning after pill, and it didn't obviously work.
You know, it's actually kind of shocking. You would think.
I know.
I'm just saying.
Of all people, she would know.
Have some knowledge. I would feel like she would have the knowledge. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Either way. Long story short, Lindsay ends up pregnant. We can't figure out what's the matter with her. She's going to doctors, telling her there's no possibility that she could possibly be pregnant. Finally, someone with half a brain says, let's just give you a pregnancy test. Like, I think it was even mom. I think it was mom who said to her, like,
yeah, maybe.
Let's just check and make sure. And sure enough, positive. That's a big fat plus sign.
So how did Dad tell you?
So Dad told me by the way, Lindsay was like months pregnant at this point. Like when she found out, she was like
6 months
pregnant.
Yeah. And she wasn't showing or anything.
Well, because she always was wearing a hoodie.
And I think because she was so sick. She was like morning sickness, right? She was puking. Yeah. So she was dropping weight.
Crazy.
And at that time, she wasn't like overweight
she was
or
healthy.
anything. She was a normal teenager.
She was fine.
Yeah.
So Dad brings me into his room and he sits me down and he goes, so I got to tell you something. I'm like, all right, like what's up? Lindsay's pregnant. And just puts his hands in his face in his hands and starts crying.
Oh, God.
Then he takes his hands off his face and looks at me and he goes, if she's having sex, you definitely are. So just be careful. And I was like, wait, what? Lindsay's pregnant? By who?
Right.
Like,
she's not even a boyfriend.
How? You know you have to have sex to like get pregnant, right? Like, what is this, the Immaculate Conception?
Pretty much.
I swear to God. But he was sobbing, and that was his response. He's like, if she's having sex, then you definitely are.
Oh, my God.
It's like, duh. Of course I am. I was like 17.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So for me, we're at work, Dad and I, because at that time I was like in college and working my first job that Dad had got me. So we go outside into his car. We're in his Durango. I'll never forget it. And he's in the driver's seat and I'm in the passenger seat. And he's like, I gotta tell you, we figured out what's wrong with Lindsay. And I'm like, oh God, like I'm waiting for him to be like, she's really sick, like she's dying, this and that. No.
Jesus.
He goes and knocks on the glove box and says, knocked up. And I was like, what?
That sounds about like Dad. That's perfect.
Knocked up.
Just the way he would say it.
Wait a minute. Lindsay? Like, are you sure you're not talking about Ashley? He's like,
what the fuck?
Well, because like you had guys in your life, like you were.
Well, good point.
You dating.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like it's totally was not
Lindsay just
expected of her at all.
It seemed impossible.
Right.
It seemed impossible.
So anyway, Lindsay had a kid at 19. Our niece, Haley. She is the coolest kid ever.
She's the best.
She's been collectively raised by all of us because that was obviously a hard situation. The dad in this whole story, if we're going to go there, I guess we might as well.
Yeah.
When we called him to be like, hey, you got Lindsay pregnant, a woman answered the phone and we were like, can we speak to so-and-so? And she goes, whatever you have to say to him, you can say to me. And we're like, who the fuck are you? And she was like, this is his wife.
We're like,
I was like, oh, okay.
What do you mean? Now, mind you, the guy was young. He was like 21.
21, 22, and already had a kid with his wife.
Yeah.
So she has like siblings out there. The whole thing's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, once we found out that like he had a family and stuff, we like...
Well, she let him know.
Yeah.
And
he actually like threatened suicide and was like...
Yeah, well, next thing you knew, he was locked up in a loony bin.
Yeah, we were worried for his well-being, and so...
We left him alone.
We left him alone, and we collectively raised Haley.
Yeah, we talked to a lawyer to see, like, just to make sure he couldn't, like, come back in, like,
take
5 years and take her or anything.
Yep.
And basically, we were advised anyway at the time that as long as he didn't try to contact her or anything like that for 2 years, he's basically giving up his rights.
Yeah.
So we collectively raised this kid. She is now 21 years old. She's amazing.
Yep.
Smart. Could have gone really far left considering her circumstances.
Yeah.
But she is an excellent, excellent kid. She really is.
She is. She's figuring out her path, I think, now. Like, she's at that phase where she's like a sophomore, junior in college, right? What is she, a sophomore?
Sophomore.
Sophomore. And so, like, every month,
junior.
It's a new major.
Oh,
her,
yeah.
right?
She's definitely.
So we're hoping that she stays focused on this new major. She's gone from everything from, like, nursing school to mortuary school to now I think she's doing graphic design for marketing. So I'm like, okay, well, those are quite
all
extreme.
over the place.
Yes, but
she got a full ride to Seton Hall for nursing school.
Yeah.
She's
super smart.
Very smart.
I'll never forget the day that I like dropped her off at college. I was so proud. I'm like, we did this. We raised this child. She's okay.
So we've been to like every major event in her life, like every graduation, everything.
Yeah.
Like she was essentially like our child / little sister / niece.
Yep.
Not to sound inbred.
Yes.
But yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
She was collectively raised.
Yeah.
And she's the best. And we
She's
love her.
amazing.
Hopefully she'll come hang out with us one time when we're done.
Oh my God,
here.
it'll be really fun.
It would be so fun. Oh my God, we have so many good stories that she could tell too.
I know. She'd probably be really nervous. It'd be hilarious.
I know.
I love watching her squirm.
You're mean. I love her. We had like such a bonding moment, her and I, over Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
And it made me like, she like told me some secrets. I'm not going to share them, but
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
She's a good egg.
she made me happy. Okay, so that's Mark and Lindsay. And then we have, you want to go into Cass?
So our father remarried. So we have 2 step-siblings that are younger than us. Cassie is, Cassie is how old? Like 30?
31?
I don't know. It was just
She's
her
like
birthday
a couple
in January.
she's a couple years younger than Mark.
All right. So she's in her early 30s. We're just going to go with that. Anyway, she's married. She has a beautiful little boy who's about, 7 months old?
Yep.
Yeah, he's adorable. They live upstate by our dad and his wife. Her name's Lucy. And we're close with them. We're very close with them. I probably go up and visit them once a month.
Yeah.
But Cassie is just kind of like, she's kind of like, let me think, how can I explain her? She's very much of a different frame of mind. She's a wonderful person. She will do anything for anybody. She has a heart of gold, works with disabled children. She's a good mom. She's really, really a good person to her core. When I say of a different frame of mind, I mean like there's mentalities that like you and I have that she doesn't have.
No.
Like
she narrows her aspirations, I think.
That's a good way to put it.
Her aspirations are narrow. Where we're big and we're like, we're going to do everything and anything and we dream so much larger. We're like, she's content just like being a substitute school teacher or a bartender. Like she's not trying to...
I feel like the mentality is more that like the bar is just really low. Like it seems it seems like a big win if like, I don't know, you bartend for a night and make $60.
Right.
Like that type of mentality.
It's a different frame of mind.
Definitely like willing to take advantage of every opportunity in the system that you can qualify for. Like we, for example, like if we ever had to, we never really got fired from any jobs or anything like that. That never happened. But if for some reason, like, we had to go on unemployment or something like that.
It was embarrassing.
It was horrifying.
Never tell anyone.
Yeah, no. And you got another job right away.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Right.
Like you don't just go off of the government. That's not our thing. And I feel like she finds every loophole and is willing to take advantage of every loophole, which to me is disappointing because it's kind of like, you don't need that. You can be so much better if you just do it yourself. Like give yourself more credit.
Yeah, she's better than that.
Yes, exactly.
We keep trying to teach her. Hopefully she'll come around.
She's a wonderful person. She's a really good mom.
Her
little boy's
like,
adorable.
Living up there, it creates like a different mindset than being like here in like Metro Jersey. Yeah, like where it's like crazy competitive and expensive, right? Where they're like
everybody gets married young, lots of drinking and breeding. They all have like 17 baby daddies. It's weird up there. Part of their like school curriculum was to learn how to juggle.
Oh my God, stop it.
I am not even joking, and that's like a known thing in their town. You went to their school if you know how to juggle.
I was like, crazy.
Yeah,
we did not know that.
I mean, I think our school could have done a little better. We're not like rocket scientists or anything.
Useful, not how to juggle.
But like maybe balance a checkbook. I don't know.
So funny.
Not juggle, whatever.
Aww.
I think that's kind of funny. And then we have Johnny.
Yes, Johnny's the baby brother. When our parents got together, Johnny was 8 years old. So like, to me, he's been like I was 20.
He grew up around us.
Yeah, we're 10 years apart, right? So I was 18 if he was 8. So like he grew up around us. He was like a little baby brother. And with Haley coming into the mix, they were almost like not
siblings.
That far apart, in age, because they were both little kids at the same time. She was a baby, but he was the best to her. He always like, I'm so glad that they actually had each other because she almost grew up having a sibling, even though she didn't.
Right.
Because she had like this older brother figure in Johnny. But we love Johnny. Johnny's cheap as fuck.
Cheap as fuck. But one of the hardest workers you'll ever meet. But he's so funny.
He's a money hoarder.
He totally is. And he's hilarious. Like if he has to say something, like he decides he's going to buy something, whatever it is, if it's a few $100s, whatever it is.
And it's like a conscious decision.
Yeah, it's like something he wants.
Right.
It's not like, the water heater went,
right,
and I have to spend this money. Yeah. It's like, I'm buying a car that I'm going to fix up that I really like.
Yeah.
He will walk around salty for like 3 weeks because he's so pissed off about the fact that he spent money.
I love it.
He is cheap.
He's going to be the rich uncle, though.
He is.
Because he's like... doesn't, I don't think, ever want to be like in a relationship because everything around him, he grew up in all this fucking chaos too. So he's like, I'm not doing that. Never.
Oh yeah.
And like I think his response to the trauma of like divorced parents, new dad, this, that, all these extra siblings that I never freaking wanted, like, is to be like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't easy for him either because, okay, so our brother was like the picturesque son, right? You know what I mean? Like for dad,
good kid. He was handsome. He was so athletic. He did well in school. Like
sweet, he was book smart.
Yeah, he was the perfect kid.
Absolutely. So he was like our dad's like dream.
Yeah, pride
you know what I mean?
Joy.
Yeah, exactly. And then Johnny, who was totally different. Johnny was like, he'll tell you.
He was a Boy Scout.
Boy Scout. He was always the fat kid.
Yeah, he was always a little chunk.
He was. I'll tell you what, though. God bless him because he got bullied in high school by Billy.
Yeah.
And he'll always tell you, like, his friend was his bully in high school. And the way he got back at him was when he grew up, he dropped the weight and fucked his sister. It's true. And now they're all, like, best friends.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Good for him.
We love Becca.
The ultimate revenge. Johnny's a long gamer.
He is.
He is. He does the long game.
Yeah.
He always plays the long game.
I love him. He's super smart.
Mm-hmm.
He's like so incredibly handy, right? Like, I mean, I watch the work he does on his home, the stuff he does on cars. He's amazing. And he will always like lend a hand to help you with anything. He's the best.
He is the best. He is absolutely the best.
And the kids love him because he's like the fun uncle, like, because he's single and he just does his thing.
He comes in with his dog. Like,
oh, yeah.
His dog's hilarious.
But the dog, like, is so obedient and perfect.
Yeah.
Like, he does everything. Like, he's just meticulous and he's awesome.
He is. So right now, like, anytime he's redoing something in his house, he sends me pictures of options or, like, what he thinks he wants to do to get a sign off.
I've been getting them, too.
And I'm like, oh, I love that.
I think my opinion got null and void after, like, I don't know.
I think I made the last call.
Yeah, you're the boss.
Let's be honest.
It's totally fine. All right, so that's the rundown on like the immediate family and siblings. And then we have grandma. So our grandma is the matriarch of our family. Our grandfather passed away 2 years ago. He was the boss.
Rest in peace.
And yes. And now grandma is our only grandparent on my dad's side of the family. And then we still have our grandma on my mom's side of the family. That's like a whole nother can of crazy. So
yeah, one at a time.
We'll stick with this side for today.
Yeah.
So she is, I don't know, in her 80s or whatever, and like she has like a crazy history of like life. Like she went from being like a Wicca person to
working
like,
at an abortion clinic.
Yes, to working at an abortion clinic to like
super holy roller.
Yeah, like what would we call her? She's like
she says she's
like
a Jew for Jesus,
born again, like Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Like she went to one of those. What are the name of that like denomination of church? It's like Pentecostal or something where they're like falling on the ground
everybody
and
speaking
rolling
in
on
tongues
the floor. Yeah.
And blah blah whatever.
It made for an interesting trip to church anytime grandma wanted you to go with her when you were a kid.
I couldn't stand going to their church. It freaked me out. I was so uncomfortable. I loved our church.
It was weird.
Our church was good.
But yeah, so grandma
so she obviously has a lot of
stories.
Yeah, no. She's been trying, I think, to make her peace with God.
Right.
Because she knows she ain't got too much time left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's been doing a lot of making up, if you ask me. And she's like, she has a good heart. She's a shit talker.
She is. She's like the central hub for gossip in our family. And we figured this out like recently too. Like, I mean, I feel like we've always known it, but like even like in the last week, something happened and it's her. Like she's this shit star.
I don't know where she comes up with this stuff either. So
I know.
Apparently she's
just bored.
I don't know. I think there's some people planting seeds
that's
too. To kind of like look over here, don't look over here.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what that's all about.
Deflecting.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a little distraction.
Right.
But yeah, she's definitely a shit talker. She'll give it straight to you. She's definitely losing her marbles. Hasn't aged the best. But she's a love. I don't know. Dad came across a picture of her when I was upstate this weekend, and it was a picture of him and grandma. And it was like it was grandpa and grandma, sorry. And it was from like 5 or 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, look, there's my dad. And I'm like, oh, I love grandpa. He always looks so good. And I'm like, grandma looks terrible in that picture. Like, it's not like a good picture of her. And he's like, he started laughing about it. And I was like, I'm sorry, but like, Jessica, let's not be silly. She looks like she died like 5 years ago. She really does.
She's like melting.
Yeah, she's melting. Old. I think COVID really took a toll on her. I'm not kidding.
Sad.
She doesn't color her hair anymore. She always had like this bright red hair.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like your typical Italian grandma.
Yeah, now she's like stuck in this nursing home. And so like we have 17 cousins, which is a big like part of everything. And so my grandmother had 4 kids. So our dad is one of 4. There's triplets. And then there's like a single sister that was born after the triplets, which we'll get into that at some point. But so we have 17 cousins. And so that means there's like a ton of freaking people that could be visiting her like in the nursing home, but everybody has their lives and they're busy. And so anytime you call her, she's like, even if you're calling for like a specific purpose, she finds a way to make you feel like guilty for not going to visit her.
That's what she turns it all the way back to. And
you can't talk to her about anything because it's always like, just come visit me. And like, we go and visit her.
We do.
People go and visit her all the time.
Uncle Bobby visits her once a week. He goes every single Friday. Dad lives out of state.
Right.
He calls her every Sunday and every Wednesday.
Yep.
I talked to her literally last weekend, and I called her for a specific purpose because she was talking shit. So I went to call her to clarify so we could just get on the same page. I'll go straight to the source so we could stop that there.
Yep.
But either way, I was talking to her, and she, as I'm calling her out on some shit she was saying, she was like, Ashley, when was the last time you came to see me? And I'm like, Grandma, we're not talking about that right now, okay? And I will make a point to come and see you more. I'm sorry. You know, like, life's life. But I gotta like have a little girl who's 4 who I'm doing like a million other things with, like, you know.
Yeah.
So either way, life's life. But we get into that conversation, and she's like, you know, nobody comes to see me. I'm here in a nursing home all by myself. Uncle Bobby never comes to see me. Maybe once in a while. He comes every single Friday.
Yeah. You're like, he was just there yesterday. She's like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I swear to God.
I tried to get her, like, they have all kinds of stuff going on at that place, like a hair salon. She could get her nails done, whatever. I'm like,
no.
Go get your nails done. Go get your hair done. Do, like, stuff. I'll pay for it. She was
not
like,
allowed.
No, that's what she told me. She's not allowed.
She's not allowed to get her hair and nails done.
No.
I guess we have like 3 hairdressers in the family.
Technically,
And
yeah.
so the youngest of our grandmother's kids, so there's the triplets, and then that last baby that they had, our aunt.
Aunt Morphine.
Aunt Frail. Either way, she's a hairdresser, and I guess she guilts Grandma.
She won't let anyone else touch her hair. Meanwhile, she like lives in Florida. It's like the woman can't get her hair done because you're in Florida. Like, let her get her hair done by somebody else.
Who cares?
Like, yeah, no.
You went to go do her nails because she wasn't allowed to go get her nails done.
She's a control freak.
Yeah.
She's psychotic.
There's much more to come on that.
Yes.
Much more to come on that.
Yeah, we're going to do a full episode on that at some point. So we'll get into that next.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be fun.
But I think that's a good place for us to leave you all. You've gotten kind of a good sense of who we are, who our family is, the situation that's kind of brought us to the table here, because we want to tell you guys now, like, as we move forward, these crazy stories and why we're doing this.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll like get into some more family members. You'll get a little bit more of an idea of why we handle things the way we handle things, or we might seem a little mean girly, but we're really not mean girls. We're just very direct. And like after so many years of this, you just kind of develop a very low tolerance for nonsense.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, that's basically it. That's a good first start though. I hope everybody comes back and listens for another.
Yeah.
We got plenty of good stories.
We're Sisters Uncensored.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about our social media?
Oh, sure. So we're Sisters Uncensored. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, aka Twitter, and soon to be YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music.
Yeah.
All right, so keep a good lookout for us. We have much more to come.